Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Chris here, aka Big Will, and today is just a one-off episode today. I've done a beta season on FM24. I've really enjoyed it, to be fair. It's been a bit of a challenge to get things set up how I tend to like it, and everything seems to change around a little bit in game, but it seems to be working quite well, and I think I've found a way in which I can get the team to play reasonably well. And my word, what a season we have had! A very good friend of mine is a big Bristol City fan. They've been very up and down in the Championship in recent years, and to be quite honest, as a football club, they have, like I say, they have struggled a little bit, and it's been a bit of a strange one, to be quite honest. Just bear with me a second. I know what I want to do. Uh, where am I going here? What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? Uh, that's what I'm doing. So when you look at the history of the club, they have been in the Championship for a fair few years, but again, like as I was saying, they've been very up and down. So since 2015, 16, 18th, 17th, 11th, toying with the idea of a playoffs in 8th place, 12th, 19th, 17th, and 14th. So they've been mid-table for quite a while. They haven't toyed with the playoffs for quite some time, as you've just seen. But I think, to be quite honest, it's been a bit of an interesting one, and I was quite happy to take the challenge on. And hopefully, the friend of mine, of course, will be watching this particular one-off episode, and he will see how we've managed to get on. Before we get into it, as you can see, we've actually got all the trophies, proper trophies here. I've used an online system from Sort It Out Sci. Feel free to pop over to his website. If you just type in Sort It Out Sci, you will be able to go on there. It is a subscription type thing, but it's very much worth it, and everything has worked really well with um, uploading different things. So I've ended up with all of the actual trophies. I've ended up with all of the proper team badges, and I've put player faces in the game as well. It adds to the gaming experience, really. So if you guys are interested in it, like I say, just go over to his website, and it is something that you can look at from there. So going over this save, we'll just get straight into it. It took a lot of sorting out, really. Financially, the club wasn't too bad. Um, the balance was pretty decent. We didn't have a lot of money to spend, really. And we ended up having to really work hard to get business done, to be quite honest. And we didn't have too many incomings or outgoings. There was a few, as you can see, overall, but at the same time, this was over the course of the summer transfer window and January. It was quite difficult, but we did manage to get there in the end. So we went for a bit of experience first and foremost. We needed a bit more strength in depth with the squad. So Jose Izquierdo came in. We've actually transfer listed him now as we enter into our second season. He was a good squad filler for us, and it worked out reasonably well. He didn't play massive amount of games. He didn't start a single game. 2 goals and an assist from 17 substitute appearances. He was very useful as a squad rotation option, though. So I think overall he was a worthwhile signing. Kiko Casilla came in as originally a backup goalkeeper, a former Spanish international. I think he played for Leeds at one point, if I remember correctly. Yes, he did. So he played a number of seasons for Leeds, and overall, really happy with the signing. He ended up making 29 starts, 5 substitute appearances. We did have a spell where our other goalkeeper really wanted game time. He came in to the side, and some games he was absolutely shocking. So we just subbed him off. He had really poor games at times. A lot of goals conceded overall in those matches, but one or two of them were big defeats as well. So it looks worse than what it is. But in 2 of those games, from what I can remember, we conceded maybe 12 goals, something like that. It was a bit of a poor run, like I say. So when you take those 2 games into account, that only leaves 35 goals conceded from 27 appearances. So it isn't too bad. 11 clean sheets for him. Very good free transfer signing for us. Marco Bonassi was another one. He came in on a free transfer. We have actually since sold him. It didn't work out really for him. He wanted for regular first team football, and we just couldn't give it to him, to be quite honest. And again, he came in as a rotation option. He didn't play too many matches for us, largely a substitute, like I say. And again, that was just a squad rotation option. Kevin Malquiz, transfer listed once again. He has been a pain in my rear, to be quite honest. He came into the side. He only made one start and two substitute appearances. He got injured earlier, very early in the campaign when he came in. And after that, he just didn't train very well. And I wasn't about to play a guy who wasn't putting his all in training either. So he was just extremely poor in the end. So he's a player that we're looking to offload again now. Two of all of these players, apart from Talby at the end there, these four guys, signings of the season, without a doubt, they were outstanding for us. Roberto Fernandez came in, Spanish striker. We brought him in from Malaga for £1.9 million, and I think he was phenomenal. To be honest, 21 league goals and 7 assists for him. He didn't actually score in cup competitions, but overall making 49 appearances, an average of a goal every 2.5 games. I can very much get on board with that. He was outstanding for us. He's only 21, like I say, and as you can see, training wise, he is improving phenomenally. He is going to be a big player for us next season. We spent 1.5 million on Harry Toffolo. Again, I thought it was a good signing for us. We needed a bit more strength in depth at left back. He came in, worked out really well, good ability across the board, really, and he's got experience, like I say, at this level especially, and in the Premier League with Nottingham Forest. So to me, it was a no-brainer for the price that he was offered for. Our most expensive signing, Francho. He came in as our central midfielder slash holding midfield player, a young Spaniard once again, 22 years of age, and again, one of our best players this season, just gone. And he only scored one goal, and he scored it toward the end of the campaign, and it was a very important goal at that. And he's just been fantastic for us, so solid, and he's stayed fit as well for the most part, which has been a big score for us. So again, really big signing there. And then we finally, on deadline day, wrapped up a deal for Samuel Mutasami. Now, he wasn't a free agent, but we signed him for free. None just wanted to get rid of him. And he came in, like I say, as a free transfer. And I thought, well, you know what? We needed that extra body in midfield. He came in and he just ran the show. He's only 5'9", but my word, he really settled into the side quickly. He scored on his debut as well, from what I can remember. And yeah, just a really solid player. And as you can see, that valuation now, he really settled in well. And Chemsdean Talby came in for just £75,000. He was 18 when we bought him. Yes, his valuation isn't great, but I think he's quite a good youngster. He's not particularly well rated by the board or anything like that, but I mean, his fitness is good, determination, decision making. I think he's a little bit of an exciting player, and I think he could prove quite useful for us going forward. But again, we'll have to see how things go. In terms of outgoings, we did have a little bit of budget to spend to start with, and as you can see, we spent what about £6 million there plus free transfers. We didn't get near that in terms of what we received, but the first deal that we had going out was Andreas Weimann. But of course, Alex Scott left for Bournemouth for £25 million. So the budget was there from that deal, really. So Weimann went to Al Raid for 500,000. Stefan Bajic, who was a young goalkeeper, I wasn't too sure whether to get rid of him or not, but he in the end went to Al Tawoun for 1.8 million, potentially going up to 2.3. Naki Wells, I thought about keeping him, but the problem was he was 34 years of age, and with the ambitions that we had, I didn't think it'd work out for him here. So we sold him for £1 million to Coventry. There's the Michael Benassi deal that went through in January to Cremonese. So he only lasted a few months with us for 675,000. And then there's a few other smaller deals there for just a few £1,000s. And to be quite honest, overall, things went reasonably well. And in terms of the squad, like I said, we have got transfer listed players, so they have been moved out of the first team squad now. But as you can see, in terms of appearances, Kiko Casilla making plenty of appearances in goal, as did Max O'Leary, who was the other first teamer. And again, he had the potential of really being a first choice goalkeeper. We bought Casilla in to be backup, but he ended up taking the reins for a while, and it really worked out well for us. Um, Taylor Gardner Hickman was already at the club on loan, and he was on loan from West Brom. He was outstanding. And yes, he's not the best in certain parts, but he's a player that we're looking to bring in ready to have permanently next season. Harry Tafolo, again, bit of a strange one. He was rotating with Cameron Pring at left back. Cameron Pring, as you can see, started a lot more games. Harry Tafolo did come into the side eventually, made 11 starts with 24 substitute appearances. But Cameron Pring, what a player he was for us. Only 11 goal contributions, but he had a solid season, as you can see, rating a 7 overall for the campaign, along with Gardner Hickman, which is why we want to bring him in permanently. Um, Matty James, unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be leaving the club. He doesn't want to sign a new deal with us. He is 32, so it does go against my kind of signing philosophy. I like to bring in the younger players who are going to be exciting and that, but we will need players with experience next season. There's no doubt about that if we want to achieve our targets. Um, so yeah, but again, 9 goal contributions from him, only 19 starts, 11 substitute appearances. He did quite well for us, really. Mark Seitz was an unbelievable player for us. 16 goals and 11 assists for him. Absolutely phenomenal return of 27 goal contributions in 49 starts. Really was one of our key players. He can play right wing back. We just had him out wide right in that attacking role, and he absolutely dominated. Um, in terms of the holding midfield areas, we rotated a little bit between Francho and Mutasami. A lot of the time, Francho stayed in the base of that midfield. Mutasami played more centrally. And as you can see, 8 goal contributions for Francho from that holding midfield role, 10 for Mutasami. One of those goals, like I say, was on his debut. He settled in extremely quickly. Jason Knight, 17 goal contributions from him. Absolutely outstanding stuff as well. And as you can see, the average ratings have been really, really good from everybody for the most part. Tarby came in January. He's only a young player. Didn't make too many appearances. He's probably a player we'll loan out next season to get some first team game time. Mehmeti, 22 goal contributions from him on that wide left hand side. Sam Bell and Conway rotated between out wide and up front, but mostly they played out wide. 12 goal contributions from just 9 starts and 20 substitute appearances for Sam Bell. Likewise, 14 for Tommy Conway, who had 7 starts. That was it. 36 substitute appearances again. Absolutely dominating matters. 7 assists and 21 goals for who I feel is signing of the season, Roberto Fernandez. Unbelievable stuff from him, really. And young Ephraim Yaboa, he was actually already in the youth academy at the club. And I decided to bring him into the first team squad as extra cover up front because obviously Bell and Conway were playing out wide. So Yaboa playing up front, I thought, yeah, why not? We'll give him a chance. He actually had 1 start, and in that start, it was against MK Dons, I think it was, in the FA Cup. 2 goals and an assist in that game. He really played well, and he's had 15 substitute appearances, so he has had game time. But again, for this coming season, he may be a player that we end up loaning out. So you've seen pretty much the core of the squad there. Obviously, like I say, there were other players in there that did have a part to play. 1 or 2 of them didn't play at all. I'll just sort that by ability briefly. So all of these guys that are transfer listed, Harry Cornick played a couple of games, didn't really get going, so he ended up being a player that we let go. We want to let go, should I say. Joe Williams only made 8 substitute appearances, and again, he scored a goal at a very vital time in the season, and he potentially saved our skin in a particular match. Rob Atkinson, he was injured for most of the season, as was Ross McCrory. They came into the side a little bit, made a couple of substitute appearances, but again, nothing major for the 2 of them. Izquierdo, again, just substitute appearances. Likewise with Malquis and Dickey. Again, didn't really get into the side. He's a very good player, really, at 3-star current ability. But again, he's not been happy at the club for a while, so he's a player that we're going to let go. Eamon Benaru was another one. Good young player, but again, he's not of the required quality, really. We're going to look to sell him, I think. And I think, to be honest, Raekwon Nelson, we're going to look at loaning him out. He's not a bad young player, and I think that he will certainly develop well. He's very, very quick, so he will be dangerous for a side potentially in League Two next season. So, in terms of the schedule, it was very tightly packed. Friendlies went as can be expected. I wasn't too sure exactly how to play. So we were to and from with formations, obviously trying to get the players in for signings, etc. And it was difficult. It was very difficult in pre-season. And yes, we played some good teams there. The highlight of it all, really, was a 1-1 draw with Aston Villa. And that's saying something considering we got beat by the likes of Oxford United and Wrexham. So we had a tough run thing, but when it got into the season, we had to start looking at things quite seriously. So we lost against Preston in the opening day, and we lost in the Carabao Cup, which was a blessing in disguise, really. It meant that we could really focus in. We sorted out a couple of parts, brought in 1 or 2 players by that point, of course, and then we started to win games. Really good results against the likes of Millwall, Birmingham, and Hull, Swansea, West Brom. Only the draw with Plymouth, but we got wins against Leicester City and Stoke likewise as well. We then suffered a bit of a random defeat against Rotherham despite our good form. Good wins against Leeds, though, and Coventry. And we followed that up with the draw against Ipswich, then a heavy defeat at the end of October against Cardiff. Going into November and December, and again, a little bit hit and miss with form, but things went reasonably well at home anyway in November with wins against Sheffield Wednesday and Middlesbrough respectively. But then we lost 2-0 away at QPR and Southampton. Southampton were one of the best teams in the league, and when I show you the league table, you will understand why. We also suffered a heavy home defeat against Norwich, 5-1 against them. Again, they were right up there with Southampton. But overall, December went quite well. Birmingham, at the very end of December, we lost by 3-0. Rotation was happening very much, and it was very difficult to field a fully fit side, to be quite honest. We had issues with injuries before that, but we just managed to keep going and doing what we were doing. So during December, good wins against Huddersfield, Sunderland, and Hull again. A draw against Blackburn and Watford, respectively, as well. So the teams that got relegated from the Premier League in the last year or two, we did really well against them, to be quite honest. And that certainly paved the way for us to progress going forward. So going into January, I did have ideas for transfer business, but again, it was a little bit easier said than done. And we did struggle to get players in, but for the most part, the team were playing well. So we didn't need to go all out and just, and just royally try and smash things in relation to the squad. Everything was going well. Everyone was playing well together. So for the most part, like I say, so it was just a case of just nitpicking, seeing what we could find, and then moving on from there. Good wins at home against Millwall, and there's the MK Dons win in the FA Cup. Ephraim Yeboah there with the 2 goals. He's only 2 goals for the club so far. A 0-0 draw against Preston, a little bit of a frustrating one, that one. But we then followed it up with a 2-0 win at home to Watford and a 2-1 away win against Coventry. We ended up losing out in the FA Cup to West Ham by 4-2. But again, we just then allowed to focus on the league. So then we went into February, and it didn't start off well, it has to be said. Leeds, Middlesbrough, and Southampton holding us off, and we didn't play well in any of those games, really. Middlesbrough ended up around mid-table, so it was a bit of an unexpected defeat, that one. 1-0 against Leeds at home defeat, 2-1 away defeat at Middlesbrough, and we somehow rescued a 2-0 draw against Southampton. We followed it up with 2 good wins, though, 5-1 at home to QPR and 3-1 away to Sheffield Wednesday. And then that led us into March. And as you can see, a couple of huge defeats in here. But we didn't suffer too much, really. We did quite well. It was 2-0 at home against Cardiff. Really good result there. But then a 6-1 defeat away at Ipswich. We were awful. Absolutely woeful. And as you can see here, I might be in the way. I'll try and scroll it down a little bit. But Max O'Leary, George Tanner, Francho, Mutasami, Conway, all rating 6.2 or 6.1. It was a dreadful performance. But we managed to push on anyway, nonetheless. And we ended up with a home 3-0 win against Swansea. We drew 3-3 away against West Brom. Again, very competitive match, and at one point we were 2-0 down in that one, so we did well to come back in that. But then Leicester managed to get a grip of us, and we lost 5-1. And again, some really poor performances. Max O'Leary again being one of the players at fault, the goalkeeper there, and Kiko Casilla had to come in and try desperately to salvage some kind of situation, which was pretty much unsalvable, to be honest. Um, it was a tough month, that match. Won 2 wins out of 5, not the best. And it was the same, obviously, in February. And at this point, I was thinking, well, maybe it's just a little bit of a stretch too far to keep up where we wanted to be. We were doing well in terms of the league table, and we were challenging for the playoffs. And despite all of these defeats in these 2 months, we were still there or thereabouts. So we still had a lot to play for. And then came April, and my word, it was a great turnaround for us. A 2-1 win away at Plymouth, followed by a 1-0 draw away at Sunderland. Again, a little bit of a squeaky one, that one, but we managed to get through it. A 1-0 win at home against Blackburn, a 3-2 win at home against Huddersfield. We lost 2-0 away at Norwich. Again, Norwich have been outstanding all season, but then we won very good, very, very well um, at home, 3-2 against Rotherham. And they came right back into it. We were 3-0 up in that game. Rotherham right back into it, but we managed to hold on. And then we managed a 1-0 draw against Stoke, and then the playoffs happened. So I'll just scroll it down a bit slowly. As you can see there, Birmingham City, we won by 4-2 in the home leg against Birmingham. And it was a very good performance. We really had to fight. We were 2-0. I think we were 2-0 down, if I remember right. Yeah, we were. So we were 2-0 down in that game. And we fought back and somehow managed to claim a victory. Then came the second leg. It was just as stressful, trust me. We lost by 3-2, going through 6-5 on aggregate, which then meant we faced Leeds in the playoff final. And what a game that was from our lads. We won by 3-0, which saw us take Bristol City into the Premier League. To put it into perspective, we'll just have a look at the league table. So there is the playoff final and semi-final, of course. Leeds getting through against Blackburn by 3-2. And then with the league table, Southampton, champions with 107 points, followed by Norwich with 104 points. They absolutely rinsed the championship this season. And we managed to finish 5th. Despite our shortcomings over February and March, we kept a gap between the chasing pack of Leicester, Ipswich and Stoke. Leicester and Ipswich mainly. And somehow we got past Leeds in the final. Leeds played really well in that playoff final, I might add. But we somehow got through it, and it just happened. It was just one of those games, and everything went our way. And in terms of the tactics that we actually put out for this season, this is what we went for. So we had the 2 win backs with, I don't normally like a sweeper keeper, but it did work out for us this season. On support mentality, 2 ball playing defenders with a deep line playmaker. Francho, again, really, really played well in that role. A Carriero and normal central midfield player with 2 inside forwards and the pressing forward. It was straight up based on the gegenpress system that was set up for it. And set pieces and everything work a lot differently in game this season. As you can see, there's a lot of extra things to go over. So what happens is you go through bits and pieces with the coach, and they say, how do you want to do things? And what it'll do, you'll pick, for example, for defending, you want to defend with players on the post. You want to, when you're attacking, you want to target your biggest defenders, for example, or just your tallest players. Best heading ability, number of players in there, near post, for example. And the coach will then generate the set piece routines for you from that. So it worked out really well. And we didn't score a lot of set pieces this season, so it could be something that we have to look to tweak. And there's a lot that needs going through, to be quite honest, ready for next season. Because obviously, like I say, we got promoted to the Premier League, courtesy of the playoff final and finishing 5th. And it's just going to be one of those things. Hopefully, we can do well enough to stay up. It will be tough, but certainly a lot to go on for next season. There's going to be a lot of squad changes. There has to be. We need to get the required quality into the side. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. There's a lot to go through. The squad is reasonably strong, but it will be difficult, and we will see what happens from there. I don't think I'll be doing another video of our season in the Premier League, but hopefully we will be able to sort something out. I'll see how far we get. If not, Sunday League to Champions League will be here on Monday. Fingers crossed everything will be set up and ready in time for that first episode, and I will see you all then. Thank you very much, guys. This is Big Will, signing away.